Hello, I'm Dr. Lewis Hoffman. This brief video lecture is an introduction to EHP 2000, Foundations of Existential and Humanistic Psychology at Saybrook University. What I'm going to do in this brief video is just go through the course shell and some important items to help prepare you for the course. The intent really is to help set you up for success in the course. So when you log in, this is going to be your home page. And when you look down here, there are some general things on Canvas help, tech requirements, course outcomes. What you're going to really want to pay the most attention to is up here, these three. The announcements, I will post announcements from time to time. These are often reminders about different things, or if something comes up where I'm unavailable for a day, anything like this, I generally post an announcement. The modules is going to be something that we go through here a little bit more, and then I'll start with the syllabus here a little bit. And of course, you've got all of your information over here too. When you look at the syllabus here, just click on here and you'll be able to download the full syllabus for the class. It's going to provide you with some more detailed information about everything. It's important that you read through this, and the first week of class while we're at the RC, I ask that you just do two things. You read through the syllabus, you pay attention to the Canvas shell and just familiarize yourself with it, and then you post an introduction post. So it's pretty easy this first week here, just a little bit to get going while you're in the RC. And you'll see here then is some courses summary as far as the assignments. Now what's not listed here, because they're not listed as an assignment, are the discussion posts, but I'll talk about the due dates for those a little bit as we go through here. But this will give you your other assignments and when they are due. What I'm going to spend most of the time on then is just going through the modules to help make sure that you're familiar with these. Up here at the beginning, you have some basic information. Again, another link to the syllabus. The course access disclosure. It's important to keep in mind that administrators at Saybrook do have the ability to come into a class at any time, and so just something to keep in mind as you post. If you're posting anything that you would not want someone outside of this course to read, then it's important to keep in mind just the basic course access disclosure there. There's some information if there's a broken link. A lot of these are just general Saybrook things. When you come down here to ask the professor, if you have a question that is going to be something that's of interest to the entire class, I ask you post it here. If it is something that you are posting that is more for just you, something about your specific paper, something about feedback on your paper, then it's best to send me a message or an email. Okay, again, some general things here. Then come down to important course dates. This is an important one. When you come in here, what it has a lot of information on the due dates and everything else. The official first day of class, the official last day of class. Now, Saybrook just changed to what's called 14+1 week semester. So that means it's basically 14 weeks and a couple extra days at the end of that. So when this was changed, the course week now begins on Saturday and ends on Friday. As a lot of people like to use Saturday and Sunday for their assignments, what I have done is to allow for better use of the weekend is the papers are due at the Sunday after the end of the week. Same thing for the discussion. So if you look down here, you can have a link to the official college academic catalog there. Calendar there, and then here are the weeks of the classes that you might want to put these in on your calendar just to remind you of when the week begins, and then winter break begins on December 3rd. And then down here at the bottom are all the due dates. At the top is the papers, and then down here are the discussions. These are also listed in the discussion little in the module, so when you click on the discussion it'll tell you. But what I would encourage you to do is to go ahead and put in all these due dates on a calendar, your own calendar, so that you have those. Again, the assignment ones, they come up automatically in Canvas. The discussion ones, they do not come up automatically because they're not listed the same as an assignment. So those you can put in your calendar from here, and then you have them ready. Okay, so let's come back to the modules here. So we did the important course dates. There's some shared resources here. Down here, instructor information. You can find some information about my bio and availability. So as an adjunct faculty, there are 2 primary days that I spend for teaching, and that is going to be Mondays and Fridays. Those are going to be the days that I have availability for appointments. So if you want to schedule an appointment with me, the best way to do this is to email me. My email is right there, or to send me a message through Canvas, and then we can set up a time on a Monday or Friday for an appointment. I generally do not check my Saybrook email in evenings or weekends, and I generally do not schedule appointments on evenings and weekends. Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, those are days that I'm in private practice. I do check my messages on those days yet, so if there is something urgent, I will still get back to you within 2 business days. If it's not urgent, I might give a quick response and then respond more on Friday or Monday. Okay. So when we come back then to the modules and scroll down here, there also are some EHP, that should be EHP, we just changed the name, faculty videos. If you click on here, what you're going to see is a number of videos by EHP faculty members that are available that you can watch. And so just scrolling down there, it gives you a little bit of a sense for what's available there. Those all are going to be relevant for the class. And then when you come down here to the recommended videos, these are some recommended videos that I encourage people to think about watching, particularly if you've not had a class with me. If you've had a class with me, or if you've viewed these in one of the foundations courses, then you may not need to go back through all of these, particularly the critical thinking and online classroom discussion and critical thinking and scholarly writing. This one is not in any of the foundation classes using scholarly resources and academic writing. This is something that I find is a very common error, so it could be helpful if you're unclear about that. And then my approach to grading gives you some insight. So if you're thinking about wanting to make sure you get an A on your paper and you've not watched this video, this gives you some insight into the way that I approach grading that can help your frame of reference as you go in to writing those papers. Okay, so that's basically it on this course home. The attendance, you need to post that by the 31st. That's to confirm your registration in class. And then Module 1, I'm going to go through a Module 2 because it's a little more detailed. For Module 1, again, this is just that first week of class while at the residential conference. And all you need to do is read the syllabus, familiarize yourself with Canvas, and then make your introduction post here. Each of the weeks after this, there's going to be 2 major units and 1 minor unit, and then a final module for the final week of the class, which we're basically just wrapping up the course at that point. So in these, for each module, if you come in here, and like Module 2, it's week 2 through 6, so you've got 5 weeks for this. The most reading that you're going to have is in this first section. After that, it's going to cut down a little bit because you're going to be shifting to some other things. There is a video in each of these to watch, and then you're going to want to come down here and look at the required reading. The primary textbook for the class, the Handbook of Humanistic Psychology, 2nd edition. Oops, I need to actually update that on there to the 2nd edition. So I believe the chapters are all correct yet, but required, it should be the 2nd edition on there. So you're going to be reading a lot from this book throughout the course, particularly in the 2nd and 3rd module. This is available in the Saybrook library. You can buy it as well. It's a fairly expensive book. If you want your own copy, you certainly can buy it. When you view it in Saybrook, you have to use it chapter at a time. You can't download the whole book, but you can download it chapter at a time and read, or go ahead and read online. And then there are 4 papers down here. These are all posters. They don't take too long to read, but they're interesting. They were done by the various students in the specialization and myself. We did this as a specialization research project a few years ago where we were looking at the primary influences on humanistic psychology. So these, again, are pretty quick. They're on ResearchGate. You just click on there, it'll take you to ResearchGate, and you can watch those. And then down here you have some recommended videos and resources. So you're going to see this in each unit where you can come in and look at the video, find all the required reading, see the assignments here. Okay, let's go back to the module then. And then as you come down, you'll see your assignments in the discussion. Again, the discussion, the due dates are not going to show up in there, so it's good to write down these due dates. They're due here too. When you come into the discussion for 2, 3, and 4, which they're going to be the major minor units for the course, this section is just cut and paste from your syllabus here, this participation in the Canvas forum, some basic information, and then down here is some more specific information. So since it's a major unit, what you're going to do is make 5 posts, at least 1 post being original post, complete by October 6th. A couple things to really keep in mind with this. First, do not summarize. That you're going to find all over in the syllabus, and I'm going to remind also. If I find in this first unit you're summarizing, I will send you a message and just remind you not to. You do want to demonstrate that you've done the reading, but you do this by engaging the reading instead of summarizing the reading. In other words, you'll talk about your responses, your reactions, how you would utilize the information from the readings instead of summarizing the readings. They should reflect critical thinking and advance the discussion. Again, if you're not sure about how to approach the post based on this, watch that video on critical thinking and online classroom discussions, and that should help quite a bit. Then the other thing to keep in mind with these posts is, so these are due October 6th. On October 7th, the discussions close. If you do not complete the discussion posts on time, you are not able to complete them, and you do not pass that requirement for the course. So it's very important that you are keeping up with your discussion post. And it's important you don't wait till the last minute. If you wait till the last minute on your discussion posts, then people aren't going to be able to respond to you. The purpose of this is to interact and engage with fellow students. So you should be making at least a post a week. And this can be an original post and a comment when you get into these longer ones, but make sure that you are getting started on those early on. If you wait till the end, that's going to impact your ability to meet the requirement of the course that you are engaging and interacting with others. So if you do all your posts that last day of the course, or last day of the module for each of them, if you do it the first time, I'm going to send you a note reminding you about that. If you do that through all 3, then you don't pass your discussion because you have not fulfilled the requirement of engaging with other students as part of the discussion. So that's very important to keep up on those. That's the thing with the discussion. That's one of the more important things to keep in mind. And then you're going to see here the paper. Now, when you come into the papers, each of those, there's 2 papers. You'll find the information again from the syllabus right here so that you can go back and submit your assignment easily enough. Now, with the assignments, a common thing at Saybrook that we do is we approach courses generally on a pass-fail. And so it's very common to be asked to rewrite papers at Saybrook. If you're new at Saybrook and you have not been asked to rewrite one yet, you will most likely before you get done. Now, what I've done to try and decrease the number of papers that need to be rewritten is to add an assignment of feedback response. So when you get your paper, I will return it to you with feedback. And I generally am fairly thorough in my feedback. The thoroughness is not to be critical, but to help you grow and improve as a writer. That I believe very strongly that if you get to the dissertation and you haven't received the feedback to strengthen your writing so you're prepared to write a dissertation, then we've failed as an institution. We need to be giving you the feedback along the way so that you're continually improving your writing, so you get to that dissertation, you're prepared, and it's not as painful of a process as what it might be. Now, if I ask you to rewrite a paper, then you're not going to have to complete this. You're just going to rewrite the paper until it's passing. But if you have some mistakes on there that need to be addressed, what I will ask you to do is to note a certain number of items from the feedback and respond to them. So I might say, for example, please respond to 5 things on your paper that you will improve upon for your next paper. And then you can come in here on your quiz, you put those down, and I will grade those. I often will be specific, such as saying please respond to 5 aspects of feedback on your paper. At least 2 should be related to APA style, 1 should be related to content, and 2 related to organization, or something like that. That's what I will commonly do. But it's very important at Saybrook to be reading through the feedback on all the papers. And this assignment allows you to do it fairly easily and make that improvement, because one of the requirements as well is that you're using feedback to make improvements. So if in your second paper, if you submit it and you're making the same mistakes that you made on your first paper and I provided feedback on, what I'm going to do is return that paper to you as soon as I notice that you're not using the feedback, and remind you to go back and go through the feedback from the first paper and incorporate that and then resubmit it. So if I see that you haven't adequately used that feedback, I won't finish grading the paper. I will just return it right away, because that is your responsibility to make sure you're doing that. So then you'll see here the feedback assignment. So I will get your papers back to you fairly quickly so that you can do the feedback response assignment. And that must be completed before you submit that second paper down here. Your papers are designed to work together. The first one is a personal theory paper. In this first paper, what you're really going to focus on is developing and articulating what is it that draws you to humanistic and existential psychology. You may focus more on humanistic or more on existential. That's fine. But what you're really doing here is you're developing your personal theory a little bit more. And then in this next paper, it's going to be an applications paper. So this can be more of a general scholarly paper. It can be towards an application that you would do with your own personal theory. I encourage you, particularly with this applications paper, if you're not certain that what you're doing is on target, just send me a message and check in with me, and I can provide you feedback and suggestions on how to make sure that you are meeting the requirements for that. Within each of the modules, then you'll see some recommended resources. If you click on there, there will just be some relevant videos and possibly other things in that section to help you. So that's basically it for the course. What you're going to be doing, hopefully it all makes sense. This final week, I should touch on, I guess, quick. There's the response to the paper 2. The same thing there. You might be asked to rewrite the paper or do this response. And then you make a synthesis post. So that last week, there's just a couple days, what you're going to do in that last week is come in here and make a 2 to 3 paragraph post that is synthesizing your learnings from the course. So you might talk about what were the most valuable lessons. It can also include thoughts on how you apply these lessons in your future career. And so that's that final cumulative process. I really like this assignment because it helps people to reflect on that learning and really reinforce it, and to give some thought about how they're going to use this going forward. Because the purpose of the course is not just to gain knowledge. The purpose of the course is for you to be able to build upon this knowledge, use it, and apply it in different ways. And the synthesis post helps you think about how you're going to do that. I look forward to having you in the course. Please let me know if any questions come up. Again, there's that place for general course questions. If there's more specific questions, feel free to email me about that.